Hello to all 8th standard students. So today we are going to study our chapter number 14 from our history civics books. That is for our class 8 students. And the chapter name is the United Nations Organization. And this is from the Icse board. So today we are going to do this complete chapter in this video, and this chapter is really interesting. We are going to learn about a very important international level organization, that is the United Nations. Okay, so let's start. So UN is an international organization that works to maintain peace. Okay, the main purpose, what are the objectives of forming or of making United Nations? The first one is that it maintain peace in the world. After the First World War and the Second World War, millions of people have been killed or murdered, and many of the there are hazards and many of the things which we lost, like we have nuclear wars, etc. So we have lost many things, and now what our world wants is peace. And that's why United Nations is formed, so that peace could be there in the world. Okay, it protect the human rights. What do we mean by human rights? Like, we know that in the earlier times there were like racial discrimination. Okay, the white were given more rights, but the black ones were not given human rights. So that's the main purpose of UN, that it protect the human rights of every human person. Okay, it provide humanitarian and uphold international law. We have talked about the Indian law, we have talked about the France law, or we have talked about the Dubai law. Okay, they are very much famous for their laws. But except, every country has its own law, but except that there should be all international level law that is same for every country. Okay, now, and promote sustainable development. Sustainable development means that economically also, socially also, and culturally also there would be development in the world everywhere. Okay, so its member countries have pledged means you can say that they have sweared it, or they have oath it. Okay, to maintain peace and to cooperate in solving international problems. So जो इसके मेंबर कंट्रीज मतलब जिन्होंने यूनाइटेड नेशंस को क्या किया है, ज्वाइन किया है, उन्हें प्लेज मतलब कि उन्हें हम कह सकते हैं कसम खानी होती है, या फिर प्लेज लेना होता है कि वो पीस जो है वो मेंटेन करके रखेंगे, वो वॉर वगैरह या फिर लड़ाई वगैरह नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है, और कोई भी इंटरनेशनल प्रॉब्लम आती है तो उसको सॉल्व करने में वो एक दूसरे की हेल्प करेंगे. ठीक है, नाउ अब हम थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड देखते हैं कि कैसे यूनाइटेड नेशंस बना. तो हमारा सबसे पहले फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर हुआ, उसके बाद लीग ऑफ नेशंस बना. बट लीग ऑफ नेशंस बनने के बाद हमारा सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर भी हुआ. इसका मतलब लीग ऑफ नेशंस वॉर को होने से नहीं बचा पाया. इसीलिए सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद हमारे जो विंस्टन चर्चिल हैं, या फिर हम और ब्रिटेन के प्रेसिडेंट हैं, या फिर वो यूएस के प्रेसिडेंट हैं, तो हम उनकी बात करें तो उन्होंने क्या किया. They thought that there should be an organization at the international level that could maintain peace in the world. ओके, सो विद द सेम आइडिया, अक्टूबर, तो हमारा जो सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर हुआ था वो ख़त्म हुआ था 1945 में, बट उससे ख़त्म होने से पहले ही, दैट इज़ अक्टूबर 1944. सो in October 1944, representative from some countries met at डम्बर्टन ऑक्स, और ये कहाँ पे, यूएसए में, टू प्रिपेयर अ ड्राफ्ट प्रपोजल. ड्राफ्ट प्रपोजल मतलब कि एक रफ स्केच बनाना कि हम क्या क्या करना चाहते हैं, हम इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से क्या क्या चीज़ करना चाहते हैं, और इसका क्या 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 मतलब कि लाइक व्हाट वुड बी द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. जैसे कि हमारी इंडिया जब आज़ाद हुई थी तो हमने भी एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया था, और उससे पहले एक ड्राफ्ट कमेटी बनाई थी, और उस ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के हमारे चेयरमैन जो थे वो थे बी आर अम्बेडकर. ओके, सो ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी मतलब कि जो हमारा मेन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन होता है, ठीक है, एक होता है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, बट उससे पहले कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से बनने से पहले हम थोड़ा रफ वर्क करते हैं कि उसके अंदर हम मेनली डिस्कशंस करते हैं कि हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है वो कैसा होना चाहिए, उसमें क्या क्या चीज़ें होनी चाहिए। लाइक हम कोई भी एक आर्टिकल बनाते हैं या फिर हम कोई भी काम करते हैं, उससे पहले हम उस काम को एक बार रफ तरीके से करें, इसे ही हम कहते हैं ड्राफ्ट प्रपोजल, ठीक है। उसके बाद अप्रैल 1945 में कॉन्फ्रेंस हेल्ड इन सैन फ्रांसिस्को। तो अप्रैल 1945 में कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई सैन फ्रांसिस्को में, और द चार्टर वॉज ड्राफ्टेड एंड रेटिफाइड। रेटिफाइड मीन्स सर्टिफाइड और फाइनलाइज्ड। तो जो हमारा चार्टर था, चार्टर का मतलब जो हमारे यूएन का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, ठीक है, उसको ड्राफ्ट किया गया, उसको मान्यता दी गई, उसको सर्टिफाई किया गया। और फाइनली 24 अक्टूबर 1945 को द यूनाइटेड नेशंस केम इनटू बीइंग। और हर साल हम 24 अक्टूबर को यूनाइटेड नेशंस डे से सेलिब्रेट करते हैं। ओके, नाउ लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड। नाउ व्हाट अबाउट द हेडक्वार्टर्स ऑफ द यूनाइटेड नेशंस। सो यूनाइटेड नेशंस, और यूनाइटेड नेशंस के अंदर जितने भी प्रिंसिपल ऑर्गन्स हैं, लाइक जनरल असेंबली हैं और हमारे सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल और 4 अदर्स, ठीक है, इन सारों की जो हेडक्वार्टर्स है वो कहाँ पे है? न्यूयॉर्क सिटी, यूएसए के अंदर। एक्सेप्ट हमारा जो इंटरनेशनल लॉ ऑफ जस्टिस है, कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस है, सॉरी, इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस, उसके हेडक्वार्टर्स हमारे द हेग, नेदरलैंड्स के अंदर है। बट एक्सेप्ट आईसीजे मीन्स इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस, और सब के जो हेडक्वार्टर्स हैं वो हमारे न्यूयॉर्क सिटी, यूएसए के अंदर ही हैं। ओके, now talking about the membership. So original membership was 51, means at starting when the United Nations was formed and it came into being, the original members was 51. Today 193 countries are the members of UN. So most important, what are the original membership and what is the present membership? Okay, original was 51 and at present it is 193. Now talking about the official languages. So there are 6 official languages, and the names are Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian and Spanish. Now you must have to learn the names. Let me repeat it one more time. Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and the 6th one is Spanish. Okay. Now, what are the objectives of the UN? Objectives means that why the UN is formed. What are the, we can say that, things where the UN want to work. Okay, so let's discuss all this. So the first one is to maintain peace and security in the world. So what is the after the Second World War, what is the urgent need of the hour? It is peace. Okay, because everywhere in the world there is unrest and many people were killed, there are many sufferings, and people were tired from now, from the wars and from everything. Okay, they don't want to die, or they don't want to suffer more than that. So that's why they formed UN, and the objective of UN, the most important objective, is to maintain peace and security in the world. Second is to develop friendly relations among countries. First what happened is many countries fought between them. Okay, they have many problems like economical crisis or whatever it is, they fought between them. Like we could talk about the First World War, where the at first the France and Germany fought. Afterwards US also came into this fight, then Russia also joined. So it was a great unrest in the whole world. Okay, so what is the most important thing is that there should be friendly relations among the countries. Okay, now the third one is to promote respect for human rights and fundamental freedom. So these are the most important 3 objectives of the UN. Now we are talking about next is the principles of the UN. So all nations have sovereign equality. What do we mean by sovereign equality? Sovereign equality mean that someone, what is the meaning of sovereign? Someone means the right to govern the country themselves. Means like if India, so India, we are going to take the example of India. So if we take the example of India, then what do we mean that India is sovereign? It means that India has a right to govern itself. You know, Britain could not come India and can't rule. Okay, like in like we could talk about the British rule in India. They have ruled India over 200 years. But after the formation of the UN, it was said that no other country would govern the law or the other country. Means Britain now can't govern India. Okay, so every country has a right to govern itself. Okay, means they have the equality. All countries are equal. Second one is all member countries must obey the UN Charter. Means all the member countries have pledged to peace, and they have also pledged that they are going to obey the constitution that is laid by the United Nations. Okay. Now the third one is the UN shall not interfere in the domestic affairs of the member countries. Okay. Now the UN is not given any right to interfere in the personal affair of the certain country. Okay, now the fourth one is all member countries must offer unconditional support to the UN. Means the other member countries should help the UN in every possible way. Okay, now let's move forward. So we are now going to talk about the principal organs. So we have mainly 6 principal organs. First of all, talking about the General Assembly. So, the General Assembly is like the world parliament. Why did we say this? So, all the members, like we have 6 principal organs. Now, the people from all the 6 organs are the part of the General Assembly. And the General Assembly is like the world parliament. What do we mean by parliament? We have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in India. Okay, so now, General Assembly means that the people from all the countries are going to sit there in that, General Assembly. So it is given a metaphor that it is like the, or I could say more simile. Okay, so the General Assembly is like the world parliament. ठीक है, सिमिली का मतलब क्या होता है, कंपेयर करना. तो हमने अभी जनरल असेंबली को वर्ल्ड पार्लियामेंट से कंपेयर किया है. ठीक है. Now, General Assembly generally meet once a year to discuss issues of international importance. तो General Assembly क्या करती है, साल में एक बार मिलती है और इंटरनेशनल इम्पोर्टेंस के जो जो टॉपिक्स है उसके बारे में डिस्कशंस करती है. इसके 3 फंक्शंस के बारे में अगर हम देखें, सो इट्स फर्स्ट फंक्शन इज टू एडमिट न्यू मेंबर्स ऑन द रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ द सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल. तो सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल जो है उसके रिकमेंडेशन पे न्यू मेंबर्स को एडमिट करना. सेकेंड, to appoint Secretary General on the recommendation of the Security Council, and the third one is to elect 10 temporary member countries to the Security Council and members of the other organs of the UN. So these are the 3 functions of the General Assembly. Now the Security Council. So it has 2 type of member, permanent and non-permanent. So 5 are permanent and 10 are non-permanent. Okay. Now the Security Council is the most important and powerful organ of the United Nations. It is the executive wing of the UN. Now, the 5 permanent members are China, France, Russia, UK, and the USA. These 5, names you have to learn, that what are the 5 permanent powers or the 5 permanent members. So they are China, France, Russia, UK, and USA. They have the veto power. Veto power means that they have the, if we can say that, the senior most or the highest power. Okay, the 10 non-permanent members are elected for a term of 2 years. The Security Council meet once a month or as and when required. अभी Security Council 1 महीने में एक बार मिलता है, और अगर बीच में कोई एमरजेंसी होती है तो वो उस टाइम पे भी मिल सकता है. Now what are the functions of the Security Council? तो Security Council क्या करता है, इंटरनेशनल पीस को मेंटेन करके रखता है. कैसे, वो एग्जामिन करता है कि कहाँ पे क्या डिस्प्यूट चल रहा है और उसको सेटल करने की कोशिश करता है. Now it can impose economic sanctions against countries that do not act on its directions. Means अगर कोई country लड़ाई करना चाहती है, वो war कर रही है, destruction कर रही है, तो उस time पे economic sanctions means fine लगाए जा सकते हैं, या फिर उसकी जो GDP है उसको गिरा के तो उनको economically उनको damage करना, ताकि वो लड़ाई ना करें. ठीक है. लाइक आज के अगर हम टाइम में देखें, इन 2022 there are very much economic sanctions that are imposed on Russia, because Russia is having a war, on the Ukraine. So that's the most lively example I could give you at this point of time. Now it can order military action. So first of all, it just tries, in the first hand, it tries to solve the case very much peacefully by just settling the disputes. If it would not work, then the second hand, what did the Security Council do is it imposed the economic sanctions. But after that also, if the if that country or that particular region doesn't stop creating the situation of war, then at last the Security Council can have a military action, okay, against the country which proves to be a threat to world peace. Okay, so now let's move forward, and we have our third principal organ, that is Economic and Social Council. So now the council has 54 members, with 1/3 retiring every 3 years and being replaced by new members. Now what are the functions? Very much important. It coordinates and supervises the work of the UN specialized agencies such as WHO, UNICEF and UNESCO. WHO, World Health Organization; UNICEF, United Nations Children's Emergency Fund; and UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. तो ये इन सब एजेंसी को सुपरवाइज करता है और इनकी हेल्प करता है फाइनेंस में भी. Now, the second one is it organizes project, initiates studies and submit report concerned with health, education and other social, economic and cultural issues. And the third one is it promotes economic and social progress. Now the fourth principal organ is Trusteeship Council. So the Trusteeship Council was set up to work for the 11 trust territories formed after the Second World War. तो सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद 11 जो टेरिटरीज बनी थी उनको सेटअप करने के लिए, उनको इंडिपेंडेंट बनाने के लिए ट्रस्टीशिप काउंसिल को खोला गया था, ओपन किया गया था, सेटअप किया गया था. इट्स एम वॉज टू मेक देम सेल्फ सफिशिएंट फॉर इंडिपेंडेंस. नाउ ऑल दिस कंट्रीज आर फ्री, हैंस दिस ऑर्गन इज नाउ रिडंडेंट. रिडंडेंट मीन्स it is not in being, it is not functional now. Now the fifth one is International Court of Justice, ICJ. Okay, ICJ. Now the International Court of Justice is a judicial wing of the UN. It has 15 judges, all from different countries. So there could no 2 judges from the same country, all the 15 judges from different countries. Now the judges are elected by the General Assembly and the Security Council. Its term is for 9 years, with 1/3 retiring every 3 years. The headquarters of ICJ are in The Hague in Netherlands. तो मैंने बताया था कि और सारी जितनी भी ऑर्गन्स हैं उनका जो हेडक्वार्टर्स है वो न्यूयॉर्क सिटी जो है हमारी USA के अंदर, उसके अंदर है. बट जो हमारा ICJ है उसका हेडक्वार्टर कहाँ पे है? नेदरलैंड के अंदर है. ओके, Now, what are the functions of the International Court of Justice? So, the International Court of Justice settles dispute between member countries. It also provides legal advice to other UN organs. Okay. Now, the last one is the Secretariat. The Secretariat carries out the day-to-day work of the UN. The Secretariat is headed by the Secretary General. She or he is elected for a 5-year term and may be re-elected. Antonio Guterres is the present Secretary General of the UN. So, Antonio Guterres is the Secretary General from 2017 till date. Now, what are the functions of the Secretariat? The Secretariat prepares some minutes of the meeting, translate speeches and most documents into the official languages of the UN. Now you must learn about the six official languages, okay, which we have, learned today. Now it organizes international conferences. Now we are going to talk about the achievements of the UN. Okay, so it's very much important to learn about that what is the effect of setting up United Nations. Okay, so the first one is the UN peacekeeping forces have been part of numerous peacekeeping operations and different regions of the world. They have ended many regional conflicts and often prevented disputes from escalating into wars. In 1988, the Nobel Peace Prize, this is important. In 1988, the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the UN peacekeeping forces for its peacekeeping operations. Now, the second one is the UN is working to end the nuclear arms race. न्यूक्लियर आर्म्स रेस का मतलब क्या होता है? इसका मतलब है आर्मामेंट रेस. मतलब कि मान लो अगर एक कंट्री एक न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट लगा रही है तो दूसरी कंट्री दो लगा रही है, तो इसी तरीके से कंट्रीज़ के बीच में एक तरह की रेस चल रही है, ठीक है, न्यूक्लियर आर्म्स के बेसिस पे अगर हम देखें. एंड द पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ अनदर वर्ल्ड वॉर. Now, the specialized agencies of the UN have made a tremendous contribution to the economic and social development of nations. Providing aid means help to victims of conflict and improving healthcare, ensuring the welfare of women and children, and so on. Okay, we have many agencies like we have WHO, which is doing a great job in the health sector, or we have the UNICEF, which is helping the pregnant women and the children. We have UNESCO, which is just having a great role in the educational sector, or I could talk about the scientific one. Also in the cultural one, they have a very great plan in India. Like they have a program in which what they are doing is, we have Taj Mahal in Agra, at Agra in India. So what they are doing is, the UNESCO is cleaning it, because we all know that the Taj Mahal is becoming yellow. A pale yellow color is adding upon it. So now the UNESCO is helping India to remove that color and making the Taj white again. Okay, so now we are going to talk about India and the UN. Okay, so how India and UN have worked hand in hand, and they have created a great, drastic change, I could say. So India officially became a member of the United Nations on 30 October 1945. So 24 October 1945 को क्या हुआ था? UN बना था, और उसके 6 डेज़ में ही हम जो इंडिया था वो भी क्या बन चुका था? उसका मेंबर बन चुका था. इंडिया हैज़ एक्टिवली सपोर्टेड ऑल पीस कीपिंग एफर्ट्स ऑफ द UN. Time and again, she has sent troops means army men, and medical teams to the troubled areas. Indian troops are currently serving in many countries. Okay, now India has opposed racial discrimination. She has always supported the cause of human rights. Now the fourth one is, India is against war and accumulation of weapons of mass destruction. Accumulation मतलब इकट्ठा करना. ओके, तो इंडिया हमेशा से अगेंस्ट रहा है कि कोई वॉर मतलब लड़ाई भी नहीं होनी चाहिए, और हमें वेपन्स भी ज़्यादा इकट्ठे नहीं करने चाहिए. शी हैज़ सपोर्टेड द UN and its efforts towards nuclear disarmament. Many Indians have served on important positions in the UN. Like we could take an example of Shashi Tharoor, who is currently the member of the Rajya Sabha, okay, of our parliament. So Shashi Tharoor served as a Under Secretary General for Communications and Public Information at the UN. The chapter in just 20 to 25 minutes, and I hope you learned something new from it, and it just have been interesting for you to have studied with me. I just loved teaching you these things, because we must learn about these things, because some students have interest in becoming the leaders of the world, so they must be having an inspiration that yes, I want to be in UN, I want to be a member of it, or I want to do something that at that level, that how UN is inspiring us to do very much good deeds for this world. So I think it's really helpful for you, and I just want that you must like this video if you loved it watching, and you must comment down side about your experience and that what you learned in this video. Okay, and I'll if there is any query or doubt, you could ask that in the comment section itself. I'll be there to solve it for you. Okay, so subscribe to our channel ICSE Easy Learn if you have not done it yet, because more amazing videos like this are there to come. Okay, so bye bye, meet you in the next video.